Beautiful people of the world. I am your host, Brenda, and welcome to the Alignment with Brenda podcast. This is a podcast where I talk about everything spiritual growth, personal growth, healing, or just anything that we can work on us to help us align every aspect of who we are with our goals, dreams, and desires to become the best version of ourselves for ourselves. I hope that something from today's episode resonates with you and you could take it as a tool to help you in your own journey. So I wanted to say how grateful I am to have this space, to hold this space, and to be able to get to other people and talk to other people. And I just want to thank you for being here and being on today's episode. Today, I really wanted to talk about something that a lot of us experience, and it can seem daunting, scary. Everyone has their own personal struggle with it, but it's something that I feel like people go through and they don't really put the attention that it needs or that it requires in order to go through it, I guess, in an easier way or a smoother way or a less difficult way, I should say. So we're going to talk about today is moving through change. And everyone's life is different. Everyone's life processes are different, and where you are in life is completely different than what somebody else's. But I think it's just a very important topic to talk about because there's not enough attention put to it. And changes are just, they can be, even if they're within the context of being, a miracle or something that you really wanted to, it still can bring about many emotions in us, even if maybe it's something happy like moving to college, and you could still be upset or have other different feelings that would differ from the happiness because you feel sad. You feel sad about moving out for a little bit, moving out, not seeing your parents. Maybe it's a whole different state, maybe a whole different country, and that in itself can be daunting. But we all go through some sort of change in our lives all the time. Some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller. And personally, I'm in a place in my life where just a lot of different changes are happening at once. And lately, you kind of feel like you're there, but not really there, because you're just trying to do all these things and get all these things done. And, how do we cope with that? How do we take care of ourselves when we are in those times, in those challenging times where a lot of things are happening, or maybe a lot of things might be uncertain? You don't really know the future. You don't know what's really going to happen next. How do we take care of ourselves? How do we keep balance within ourselves? And like I've said before, I think it's very important to talk about, because a lot of people can go through it and just be and feel mentally not okay. Maybe a lot of stress, maybe a lot of anxiety during this time, these changes. And we don't take the time, or we don't recognize that we're supposed to have some time to take for ourselves, to have self-care, and just simply to just process. I feel like our society and, how we were brought up tell us, hey, just go. It's what are you going to do next? What's next? That we don't really have time to process anything nowadays. So, maybe even coming to somebody about how you're feeling, or maybe you might even feel wrong for feeling not okay between changes or transitions, or whatever it is that you might be going through, that just require just so much unknownness and newness and new of you and coming out of you. So yeah, it's important to talk about, because we often overlook our mental health during these times. And I think it's equally as important as putting importance anywhere else in your life. A woman prepares for different things, like, before you're going to be on your menstrual cycle, you prepare, or you know what works for you during that time and what doesn't, or you try new things, you take care of yourself, prepare yourself more. And in the same way, like when pregnancy happens, the woman prepares, and it's a lot of planning and things like that. And it's just being prepared for that newness that is coming. And oftentimes I understand that we don't get to do that, because changes might come out of nowhere. But if you're occurring to what is going on right now, and you might know that a change might be coming soon, or something new is going to go on and things like that, it's nice to just look ahead and see what the possibilities are, kind of form a mental picture, put new goals in that might incorporate this new challenge or this new change, or this newness. Find a meaning in it. I think it helps when because I feel like we can often forget, or putting in the back of our heads, like, why we're even doing the changes that we are, or why we're flowing through them, or why we are accepting them at the moment. And I think it's important to put meaning behind it, because it gives it more power. It gives more power to us to hold. And all of a sudden, we can kind of go into these emotions with acceptance and more empathy towards ourselves, and to have towards this goal, like, hey, yeah, this at this moment, all this maybe training, we can put an example as like maybe just training for something, all this pain of waking up early, going to train, or this new changes in my lifestyle that I have to do, my diet and all this, it's for a goal. Having a goal of, I'm going to run a marathon by the end of the year, or I'm going to go to the Olympics, for example. There's a lot of things that happen before that change to prepare for that change. Even if they don't get to the end goal, you have something, you have a meaning behind that. So I think it's important that when going through a lot of unknownness and a lot of newness, we should try to put that into perspective and try to put that in the forefront. Like, okay, why are we doing this? Why are we holding this space? Why is it necessary for us to do this? Why am I even in this state, or this state of life right now? So change, finding the opportunities in change, finding the meanings in change can be very helpful in your mental health, and just how you're composing yourself through all of this, through everything that you might be going through. Giving yourself that time to reflect is very important. Give more time to yourself. Find new things, find new opportunities in these changes. For example, me and my partner moved into a house, and it's been quite unreal and very just the transitioning, the newness of it. Now we're independent for sure. It's for real. So a lot of difficulties handling our emotions. with like being scared, or just everything being daunting, or just being like, wow, I still feel like a kid, and here I am with like a mortgage and just a lot of grown-up things, and you're just like, I'm still feeling like I want to go color or something. So that's how it feels. It feels raw, and I think that's the word for a lot of these changes that we go through. It feels raw. So just putting attention to our emotions and holding that space for each other and for ourselves, and meaning that we let our emotions, like, we just don't swindle them and put it in the back of our head, like, I shouldn't be feeling like this. You should give way to your emotions. It's okay to feel that way, knowing that you're not your emotions. It's just a wave that you're feeling at the moment, and it's not going to shift your perspective, because you're realizing that you're just passing through. It's just an emotion that's passing through. You're passing through that emotion right now, and it's okay to give yourself that space and what you require. When I was feeling sad, my thing was just to snuggle with anything I could, or my partner, and just be like, I'm sad because, just being honest with yourself, I'm sad because this is completely new for me. I've never lived away from home, and I'm gonna miss my family. I'm gonna miss waking up to my mom's home cooked meals. But it's okay. We're not supposed to, and no one should, and you shouldn't let anyone make you feel bad about how you feel going through these changes. You're allowed to feel that, but just recognize them. It's so important just to recognize how we're feeling while going through changes, and giving ourselves space to feel that it's okay. And because when you bring awareness to it, you allow it to flow. You can easier let it go, and you can come up with something to do about it. It might be you find new things about yourself. Maybe you enjoy walking now, or try to put things, try to take them as opportunities of, what is this new thing bringing to me? What can I take from it? For example, I just recently got a new job. Like I've said, many changes. Just got a new job, and it's a lot more. I wanted to get a different job, because my other job felt like it wasn't stimulating me enough. So here I am looking for a new job, and trying to stay as positive as I can. But sometimes it's because it's more, yes, of course, the job is more stimulating, but it means that it requires a lot more from me. So that could be kind of daunting. And sometimes I find myself saying like, man, I probably should have stayed where I was, because this doesn't really the benefits are here, but then I would have been okay, and things just like where my life is aligning, things would have worked out probably maybe better. I'm thinking better, but you know what, at the end of the day it might not be better, but I perceive it as it would have been better at the last job that I had. And I'm just sometimes I just gotta knock myself out of it. No, you're in this new thing for a reason. And just holding my head up high, but just taking the time to realize that, this is gonna I did this because it was gonna bring new opportunities. It was gonna bring me more with the personal growth that I want, professional growth that I want. And it's just gonna teach me so many things that I can use in my future. So just trying to recognize that, and not really being controlled by what everything looks like at the moment. because maybe, like I've said, I would have in those time, in some moments I would think, maybe the old one, maybe I should have stayed at my old job. But it's not. It's really just me wanting to be safe. If we're being completely honest, wanting to feel like I'm safe, like I'm secure. And change doesn't allow us to do that. Change doesn't keep us comfortable. But it's necessary. It's necessary to evolve. It's necessary for personal growth. And I don't think that we often might see change as even if it's for a good thing, it's sad and it's bad, and it restricts you from other things, or it takes you from other things. But it's not necessarily, it's like where you are in life. It's just like water, and we should be able to have fluidity in ourselves, knowing how to master, how we feel and how we react to things. And even if we find ourselves in a state where we don't want to be, we can acknowledge it, because we're bringing awareness to it, and change it. Change how we can't change. I think the most important part of this is that we can't change what we're going through. We can't change the changes. We can't change the changes to be more of what we like, but we can always change how we feel. We always have the power to control us. We might not be able to control the world. We might not be able to control circumstances, anything like that, but we can control how we react to it. We can control how we feel. We can control how we let our emotions and our feelings manifest in us. We have the power to choose, and I think in changes, choice has a big part. Having to be able to have the choice of, I can choose to be bitter, to be sad, to be like, I moved, but I'm just missing it. I'm missing my family. I'm missing everything. I wish I could go back. I wish things could be different. And what for? We can change. We can choose to stay like that, or we can change, or we can choose to stay positive and being able to find the opportunities. Because when you're not blinded by all those negative emotions or low vibrational emotions, you can see the possibilities. You can see the opportunities. And like I said, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to feel how you're feeling during these changes, but don't let it control you, and let it limit you during these transitions, because that's what you're doing. You're transitioning, and like water flows, we flow. So I just think it's very important to recognize ourselves a little bit more when we're going through changes, to be in ourselves a little bit more when we're going through changes, and just during these changes, it's opportunities just everywhere, and it's just the ultimate place where you can just grow, not emotionally, physically, mentally. You can maybe like, for example, this new job that I have, I have to be there later than my older job, but I get to have the weekends to myself. I don't have to work on the weekends, or I get to, in the mornings, I get to be alone in the mornings. My fiance goes to work, and I just get to be to myself. Like, sometimes I'll feel lonely, but I don't feel alone, if that makes sense. Because I always put intention towards my time, and I'm using this time, instead of being sad and being like, I miss my mom, it's just too much, feeling overwhelming, and just thinking about the things that could happen or could go wrong. I try to stay positive and really feel my feelings and just understand that it's okay. Like, I'm sad right now. I might cry, or I might, but it's I'm healing through that because I'm letting myself feel those emotions. Now, if I was to deny them or just be like, you're just being weak, like all of this, I'm just making room for them in my head from that for that emotion or that feeling to pop more or get more intense because I didn't process it. So I think processing your emotions, holding space for them is very important. And like I've said, I found so many opportunities with this new job or with, this new move that I probably wouldn't have had if we didn't do this. If I didn't do this, I gave and just propping yourself for this change too. Like, man, that's such a big thing, that people don't give themselves props for what they're going through. Like, yes, I went through that and I overcame it. Yes, I went through this and I'm here. Like, I'm here, I'm strong because of it. So just changing your mindset on what these changes entail, what they mean, what they are to you, finding opportunities. Like I've said before, I could easily just be in the state of mind of all these changes are bad. I miss everything how it was. I wish I could go back. And you just can't do that to yourself. You're choosing to be in that state. Luckily and unfortunately, everything depends on, like, our lives depend only on us. If we stay bitter, stay stuck, it's nobody else's fault. Yes, there might be limiting factors like race, socioeconomic status, and all of that is true. But in the essence, the quality of our life only depends on us. It's only so much that you can only get out of life as much as you put in it. I mean, you're not gonna get rich for for example, if Steve Jobs would have got so successful, like we can't take that credit because it wasn't us. We didn't put that hard work in. We didn't put all that effort in, or studying in, or just perfecting in. So yeah, we're not gonna get out of it. Makes sense that we're not gonna get out of life. We only get what we give. So just trying to stay positive during change, trying to incorporate just healing within yourself, just tapping in more into who you really want to be, who you really are, taking the time to focus to yourself, finding opportunities. And I think just change at its core is just a beautiful thing, because it makes us grow, it makes us expand into who we are going to be. And I think that it's good that everyone goes through it and that so much change happens in a single life, because we can all connect through that. We can all give empathy to one another because we know how changes feel, all the emotions that changes bring. We might not go through the same changes as somebody else, but we know that feeling. We can connect by that, and we can hold ourselves together for that. And just knowing that you are not alone. This is a process, and it doesn't mean that you don't give it the time, that you don't give yourself the self-care that you need during transitions. It's so important, and you can't leave yourself to the back end. You can't. So guys, I hope that this can help anyone that may be going through change and maybe feeling lonely. Just know that you're not alone, that you got this, that we can all have a positive mindset towards everything we do. And it might not make it any better, but it makes us better, and it makes the feelings less intense, because it might not make the thing itself better, but my attitude is already changed because of it. So I don't perceive it as, something as bad. I changed my perception of it. Now I'm okay with it. I can let it flow until I get to the next thing. Well, I'll see you guys, and thank you so much.